What's up YouTube, HoneyBee here, bringing you a new Mortal Kombat 1 video, and in this video we're going to be doing a breakdown of T-1000, giving you guys an advanced guide on tips and tricks, combo routes, how to play the neutral, and those type of things when it comes to using this character. I will say up until this point I have been using T-1000, so about the past 2 days I've played over 100 matches or so using him, spent quite a bit of time in training mode, labbing him and stuff like that, so I feel like I have a good amount of knowledge when it comes to this character. Obviously there's going to be more to explore and to learn, but for now I'll give you guys a quick breakdown of what makes this character good, because T-1000 is a very good character. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with going over T-1000's basic attacks and kind of what makes them so good. Just as a heads up, when it comes to notation, button notation, I am on a PS5. I use a PS5 controller. 1 is square, 2 is triangle, 3 is X, and 4 is the circle button. So I do use 1, 2, 3, 4 when going through stuff, so hopefully you guys can follow along. If you aren't aware, that is how people generally refer to this in the NRS community. So with that said, buttons, he has a lot of good buttons. You know, he has his, you know, pokes, down 1, down 3. The down 4 though is an amazing button. Down 4 has great range on it. Look how far that thing is reaching, right there, right there. So he has a lot of great range on it. It's 10 frames startup, minus 10 on block. If you're right next to them using it, it's more minus 13, but if you're using it for max range, very good. Great use of controlling some space with that. He also has his other buttons that can complement it, such as a stand 2, which has amazing range as well. Look how far that is. You can follow up the string with a 2-4 to get hit confirmable launching combos. That's also a safe string on block, so 2-4 is going to be one of his go-to buttons. He has his jab strings with like his stand 1, 7 frame stand 1, 7 frame down 1, 1-2 is 0 on block. You can use that to hit confirm into buttons. You can finish a string with an overhead, that's safe, so he has some pretty good options there. He also has an overhead that you can charge. You can make it quick, or you can charge it. You can also cancel it, right? He has a back 3, which is his low, and the full string back 3 2 is punishable at minus 14, so you're gonna have to be a little bit careful with that. Same thing as the overhead, it's also punishable, minus 17. It says 6 frame startup, but that's because the first part of it is actually an anti-air. When he's raising that in the air, that counts as the attack, and that's 6 frames, but the actual overhead portion comes out later. I've done some testing and it's around 25 frames startup, give or take. So you know, he has an overhead, he has a low, you know, he has some good range on his buttons. Those are like the main stuff. He also has, you know, stand 4, which is a good ranged high attack that has a full string off of it, has a bunch of slashes. He has a mid with his forward 1, 12 frame advancing mid, very strong. You have a string off of it that you can confirm. You have another string that you could use that's a little bit unsafe, but he also has a throw option off of it, which if they're blocking, they get hit, they'd have to duck it. He also has a pretty great ranged forward 2, which is a 15 frame startup mid. Can't special cancel the second part, but you can special cancel the first part. If you have a Kameo that can convert off of that, you can get full combos though. There we go. He also has his stand 3 string, and there is a sneaky overhead in there that you can use to like mix people up. We also have strings. I wanted to go over his air options. So if you launch someone, 1-2-2 does you know, a bounce. You can also cancel this in the air into, you know, more stuff. For example, you know, doing something like this into Movado, what have you. You can get like combos such as that. You can also just do that, go into the ground, continue a combo, something like that. Easy 35%. But you also have other options for air strings. His 3-2 is one of his most damaging air strings. Something like that is like 40%, right? His 3-2 is like really good for combo extensions and getting like maximum damage in a lot of situations, especially in the corner. You can do a lot with it. He also has a 2 and throw as an option. Not as damaging of an ender and generally won't connect at the end of long combos because of the way the gravity scaling works. So I don't really use that, but it's a cool move anyways. Those are essentially the basic attacks, going over that. Now let's talk about some of his special moves. His special moves, he has some really good special moves. Gunshots, forward gunshots, hold the gunshots. He can enhance the gunshots, but I will say in general his gunshots are not the greatest projectile. Like, it's actually not that hard to jump over them. If you're doing trades with people from full screen and they're doing projectiles, you're doing projectiles, you're usually gonna lose those trades. And if you're advancing with your gunshots and they're just sitting there blocking, you can just get punished for it because it is quite punishable, -20, right? You could do 2 shots or 4 shots, but either way it's going to be punishable. These shots are all going to be punished. It's all going to be punishable. So generally speaking, you don't really want to be using these shots that much. It's like sometimes you can still use it, but it's not going to be your main zoning tool. Your main zoning tool is actually going to be your down back 3, which is this spike. And the spike, very strong move. It's an 11 frame startup. You can see it's -16 with all that space between you, which means if you're using it from range, most characters won't be able to punish you for this. And it's a very quick low attack. If you have a good Kameo to extend off of it, such as Movado, you can get a full combo like this. That's nearly 30% damage off of a pretty much safe, almost full screen low. Now it doesn't go full screen, but it goes, I would say, about 60% of the screen. If I get from further range and I get a different conversion, I'm still getting like almost 27% damage. So you're getting like to control the screen, the space, from about 60% of the screen for full combo conversions like that. Maybe 65% of the screen away. Once you're like back like here, it's not gonna reach anymore. But very good at controlling space. Right now, obviously they could jump and punish you, but you know, that's just part of the game. You gotta make those reads, play the footsies, all that stuff. So that's gonna be your main zoning tool. Now this spike, you know, there's options. You can make it go like close to you, a regular one or a far one, depending on how you use it. It can change how you want to do certain combos. And yeah, the spike's really good. Now he also has some other stuff, such as he has this move. That's his down forward 2. It's unsafe on block. If you amp it, it has armor, so that's his armor attack. Now it looks like an overhead, but it's a mid. He also has these Cabal hook blades like this, down back 2. That's also going to be punishable. You can also amp it to get combo extensions. For example, regular and amped, you know, changes. He also has this hammer, down back forward 2. Now I will say sometimes, maybe it's just a me thing, I've had some people mention to me that this hammer, sometimes you'll go for it and maybe instead of getting like the down back forward 2, you'll get like down back 2, or you'll get down forward 2 instead of getting that full down back forward 2. So that's why sometimes I don't really like to go for it, just in case I mess that up, because the hammer itself is actually safe, right? If you do the hammer, obviously I'm struggling. If you do the hammer, it's -7. It's pretty much is safe on block. If you amp it, it's actually +3 on block. But if you get an input error and you accidentally go into something else, it's going to be punishable, which makes it a little bit risky if your inputs aren't super clean. So he has this goop move where you can go through people, right? Now you can have a couple options out of the scoop, and you can be hit while you're in the scoop. It's not like you're not invulnerable or anything. You can still be hit, but you can exit out of it early, right? If you press 3, you can go into this spike If you press 1, it's punishable at -13, or you can go into this launcher if you press 2 or 4. Both options are the same thing. But that is a launcher. Those options are going to be unsafe, but because he has so many good options, like you can catch people if you play the mind games with them, and sometimes they're just going to let you kind of just get away. So you know, you could do something on block, get away type deal. So that's pretty good. He can also do this goop stuff from the air. If you amplify it, he goes into the goop and he'll have all the same options as we were just discussing. But so you can do stuff like, you know, that's a double overhead. If you amp it, then you can still get out, or you can hit confirm it if you hit them. That's pretty good. He has this armored state where he goes into this walk, which is very strong, because he does a command grab off of it. And with the command grab, with the right cameo, you can get a full combo. That's 30% off of a command grab using one cameo bar. A bunch of other cameos will provide options for, such as, you know, Sonya, Scorpion, Janet, Jax, Cyrax. There's going to be a bunch of options of cameos that you can do that. I will say, when it comes to the spike though, Movado is likely the best cameo if you want to like really utilize the spike, and the spike is a very strong move, which is part of why you see a lot of people running the Movado cameo right now, because you can get those conversions off the spike. No other cameo is really giving such good consistent conversions off of getting like those random spikes, but you know, you can definitely use other cameos. So those are his options for that. You know, he has his throw as well, and the throw does combo right into different cameos. Drop the ender, but that was already 23. I think if you complete that, it's like 25%. You can also combo that into other cameos like Janet or Scorpion off of his throw, so that's gonna be really good. But the thing is like, because he has a command grab, right, that you can also get full combos off of, sometimes it's almost not really necessary to even use the throw, because you can do combos using the command grab. But if you do go for the throw, it is an option, right? And I will say, this move right here, 2-4, has so much cancel advantage. It says 69 frames of cancel advantage. You can cancel advantage into like so many things. Let me just give a quick example of how good it is. You can do 2-4 into Janet Cage and see how that still connects, that kick, which is going to give you a lot of options to like do stuff. I'm not going to show a whole combos because I haven't labbed any of that with Janet, but you get the idea. Like you can do that into, for example, Cyrax, 2-4, Cyrax net, that combos. So, you know, if something can combo into that, you can actually do 2-4 into that, and that's still going to be able to combo. See how that still combos? So you have a ton of cancel advantage to use different cameos to get full combos using that. It's pretty crazy, honestly. Now, one other thing I want to go over is this enhanced spike. The enhanced spike, not everyone knows this, but it's very, very strong. So see how the regular spike does 9%, right? This enhanced spike, it does 11%, and you might be thinking, okay, great, you get 2% more, but that's not the main thing that makes it so good. Look at how fast that startup is. So the startup of this is 11 frames. Enhanced spike startup is 7 frames. So that's going to be very important, because it allows you to punish stuff that would normally go unpunished. So for example, if we set Sub-Zero to do his forward 1-2-3 string, that's -7, which generally should be safe. But against T-1000, you'll see this is actually a punish. If I move my camera, just let you guys see, this is a punish. See, reversal punish. So essentially what this means is that T-1000 can actually punish moves that are -7, which are generally going to be safe. There's only 3 other characters in the game that can do that. Li Mei has her reversal kick. Kung Lao has a 6-frame jab, and Liu Kang has a 6-frame as well. So those characters can punish, but now T-1000 is actually in that as well. He can use this to get a full combo punish, and you know, just use a Kameo to extend. Something like that is 31% consistent, easy punish. Now, I will say you're gonna have to spend some time labbing to find out what you can and cannot do in terms of punishes. For example, if Sub uses this string, right? That's also -7, as you can see there. But because it has more pushback, this is not gonna work. So you have to kind of spend some time in the lab trying to see what stuff you can or cannot punish that's -7. It seems that like in order for it to actually punish, it needs to be point blank, like in his face, in order to actually get that to punish, because that first hit is coming right from like his aura. I don't know. It's like coming right from beside him. So you need to be spending some time in the lab to see what characters have strings and stuff like that that's actually -7 but right in your face, so that you can use this move to punish it, because that's a punish, for example, -7. So yeah, spend some time in the lab if you want to take this character seriously at all, to see what options you have against characters with -7 strings and which ones you can actually punish. I think characters like Li Mei can punish pretty much every -7 string as long as it's decently close, but it seems like T-1000 you have to be like right next to them in order to get punishes with that. But regardless, it's very, very good to be able to get punishes on stuff that normally are safe is a pretty big deal in my opinion. So that's basically like the breakdown of all the moves that he has, what he can do with them. When it comes to like the neutral, like how you want to play this character, generally you're trying to space yourself out at max range for the spikes, especially if you're, you know, running them of auto Kameo, so that you can get conversions off of hitting those spikes. When you're in the closer ranges, you know, you're using your down 4 to control space. You can special cancel that into spikes, you know, for tricky little hits that will catch people trying to like take their turn back, trying to poke, right? Go for that. You can do that. You can also go into this, which could be a tricky way to open someone up. You know? So you definitely have options off of your range. Now you can also make sure you're using your 2, stand 2, 4 to get stuff. I have found that like you can use your stand 3 as well, but it does start off of a high. It is a little bit slower to use, but you can like off a frame advantage, you can start going into that, and it is one of his most damaging combo starters. That was a meterless 40% combo. You could do something like this, 1 bar. That was 1 bar, 1 Kameo for 44%. So he definitely has great damage. You can do, you know, more stuff with other characters, or I mean other Kameos, but that's generally what you're looking at when you're using him. And yeah, just trying to play that neutral game. So to sum it up, T-1000 basically has everything you could want in a character, right? He has zoning options, right? Full screen zoning options. Not the strongest, but good. But then when you have this, it just becomes amazing. To have an option like this, it becomes amazing. Even if you're not getting full combo conversions, the space that this controls is still very good. You get either 7 or 9% based on if the 2 hits are hitting them or not. But yeah, if you have a Kameo like Movado, right, you're getting insane damage off of that. So he has good full screen or almost full screen options. He has great up close buttons when it comes to just range, right, and getting stuff started. I will say his pressure options don't seem to be the greatest, because a lot of his stuff is either minus or what have you, so he doesn't have a whole lot of plus frames, but you know, he does have good up close options with his stand 2, with his down 4, with his spike, just using that to kind of like control space. He has a fairly good down 2 to catch people jumping in, or you could use your stand 2 to also anti-air jump-ins and stuff like that. So you can do really good at controlling the space. You do have overhead and, you know, low options. The only drawback is that both options are punishable, right? But because he doesn't need to have those, it can still work in his favor, right? He can still have options to mix up stuff because he has overhead in a string, for example. You can switch that with doing a low spike. You can go into enhanced back forward 3, which is also a low option. So he has some mix up potential off of that, even if it like off of a block string. He does have this string that does have an overhead in there, so you can kind of mix that in, right, as well, right? So instead of an overhead coming out, you could get a low coming out. So he has some mix-ups there as well. But I think part of what is going to be really strong for him, and what you probably are going to want, is you're probably going to want a Kameo that can get a combo off of this command grab, because that command grab, it's as good of a command grab as you could hope for. It has essentially armor. You can tick off of pretty much anything in the game. Some stuff you got to wait a little to tick, because if you go too quick, it won't work. But there are options to immediately tick, right, that they have to immediately duck in order to get out of. But everything essentially you can tick, you just can't always go immediately, because if you go immediately, then it'll whiff. But if you wait like a frame, right, then you can get them. And the fact that he has this as an option, and you're getting like 30% damage based on whatever Kameo you're using, it's a very, very strong option that I'm gonna think is gonna make you want to use a Kameo that can get a conversion. So for example, Movado, Scorpion, Janet, Jax, Cyrax. That's already 5 options of Kameos that you could use. Maybe there's more that I'm not thinking of, but he definitely has options when it comes to that, of what you can do. And he does also have this ender for his 2-4 string. 2-4 1+3 is the ender, and it's a -2, which is pretty good. If you're using a certain Kameos like Scorpion, for example, you can get a combo off of that. I will also say this hammer that he has, down back forward 2, which the input is annoying. You can get conversions off of that with a Kameo like Janet or Scorpion, maybe others, because they're considered like, I don't know, crumpled or something like that during this. So it looks like it's an ender to splat them, but you can actually get a combo off of it, just saying. So with all that said, yeah, definitely a great character. He has options for pretty much everything that you could want. He has solid damage as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of T-1000. Hope you guys learned a couple stuff. Let me know in the comments if this stuff was helpful, and yeah, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.